An overcast but slightly more pleasant day than it started here at Watkins Glen International Raceway as the SRO America's TC America Series for the TCR and TCA cars are getting ready for their 12th and 10th rounds respectively at this legendary venue. I'm Greg Creamer, joined by Calvin Fish, and the third member of our broadcast team is Ryan Marine, and he is right down there on a packed grid. Ryan?
Hi, Greg. Thanks so much. It's an interesting grid for sure, especially with our pole sitter, young Michael Mccann Jr., who just got out of his GT4 car, just wrapped up a race a few moments ago. It's his first year racing in cars, and he's taken to them quickly. He picked up his first overall win in TCR competition yesterday, and he will be starting on pole here today for race number 2. The youngster's getting a lot of track time. He's being fast-tracked up the ladder system here in SRO America, but still very focused on this touring car campaign, and he seems to really have taken to this TCR car. A little bit further back in TCA, I think the thing to watch is the strength of these minis. They were very strong in race number 1. Expect that to be the same in race 2. Plus, they're very well represented. I think 4 of the top 7, 4 of the top 6, something to that effect, are minis. So that'll be a fun battle to watch back in the pack, fighting amongst the MX-5s, the Civics, and everything else back in the TCA field.
That certainly was an entertaining race yesterday. You're absolutely right on that. Lots of great parity up at the sharp end of the TCA field, and in TCR, some fabulous racing. And had a quick chat with James Walker, who, as you remember, Cal, was pretty aggressive early, tried some moves, but it ended up losing momentum. And he said, I talked to him, he said, I got overly polite after that. And he said, I was a little worried. He goes, so no more Mr. Nice Guy. He said, I've got the speed, I've just got to get the results, and that means I've got to go after it a little bit. But I think one of the great stories here that's unfolding is Taylor Hagler getting a pole position in this category. She, at every round this year, has increased her finishes, been better, was really quick in the race yesterday, and puts that X-Factor car on the pole. That's a great story.
Yeah, that was the cherry on the cake yesterday. Scored a podium run and then had the fastest lap that puts her on the pole for today. So that's a beautiful run. See if she can pull off the deal. But as Ryan alluded to, the minis were really quick here yesterday. Mark Pombo claiming the victory. Orenburg was fast at the beginning of the race, then faded a little bit. See what happens. But with Whitmer's issues yesterday, we now have a tie in the points between Whitmer and Maxon, so it's game on for the championship.
Yeah, really close. Whitmer involved in a big incident and never did get the finish. It's an interesting moment there. One of the FCP Euro cars almost looked like he was off in the grass, Cal, and we've seen them be very aggressive using that handbrake to get the rears to swing around. And you had been saying you've been waiting for one to go. Yeah, maybe it was a little prophetic. And taking a look quickly at the points in TCR, Hertz continues to lead over Vincent, and then Mason Filippi, James Walker, and Victor Gonzales round out the top 5 in the TCR points here as we get ready to go for this 40-minute race at the Glen. Confirmation from the tech sport team that Nick Whitmer runs for, that the car he's racing today is basically no way they could rebuild that one that they had, certainly in the amount of time that they had. So it is a completely different car, and he is going to be out and giving it a go right there. Now that is the car of PJ Gronke that you're taking a look at here, another of the tech sport competitors. And PJ has had a little bit of a frustrating year, just having some reliability issues, but boy, he was able to finally get a finish put in yesterday. It was knocking on the door of a top 5 former TCB category champ. Certainly has all the chops, and he's looking forward to maybe coming up through the pack just a little bit today. As you look at that big TCA field, good group of cars.
Yeah, it's been some great battling this year. Just to see how Whitmer will do.
Yeah. For some reason, PJ, who should have been starting up in the 6th spot, is at the back of that field. I wonder if they had an issue working maybe some last-minute prep on the car, getting him to the front. And there now is a look at the car of Nick Whitmer, who will be making his way and starting from the pit lane. And so he's got his work cut out for him. And as you said, he had a pretty sizable point lead, but it has evaporated. Lights out, field starting to form up for the start of this TCR round 12, TCA round 10 at Watkins Glen for the TC America categories. And if this follows the form of yesterday's race, this one should be superb. It's going to be interesting to see who does what early with Mike Mccann on the pole, as Ryan alluded to. What a great story, but a couple of very fast VWs surrounding him.
Just got to watch for these cars. They could be really taily, really loose oversteer condition in these relatively cool conditions. Track temperature's not the same as yesterday.
All right, and Walker down to the inside of that second row. He was racy early. Green flag flies. Mccann gets a nose ahead. Right alongside is Nate Vincent. Very fast yesterday. And Nate trying to go around the outside. A lot of these cars locking tires up. Vincent goes around. Hertz might be able to get around it.
Sideways.
Big spin.
Wow, can everyone clear him? There's
Taylor Hagler,
right
pole
there.
sitter.
How did he get away with that one?
Yeah, and Taylor had to live to avoid him, and she went around. And there's Whitmer coming out of pit lane.
Just those cold tires, Greg.
Yep.
Track temperature's really low here today. We see the FCP Euros go to the front.
And Vincent to the inside. Hertzen tucks in behind, then Mccann, then Filippi. And Walker, who had a third place qualifying position. What a move to the inside by Hertzen.
Yeah, I love the way these teammates race each other. Here comes Filippi, a run now. Mccann Jr. as they head down towards the boot. They're in the chute. Just got to be careful on that outside line. Got to wait for those tire temps to come up to try and pull that outside move, I feel.
Yep, and Filippi able to slice through, picks up third, but Walker has dropped down to fifth.
A lot of lock up there.
Yep.
Everyone, as you plunge down that hill into turn one, everyone was exceeding that threshold with the tire and what the track temperature is giving you. Ambient's not a lot different to yesterday, but certainly a lot cooler track.
So watching these guys down to the heel of the boot, Steven Vida is leading in the TCR Cup class, and point leader Brian Putt finds himself in fourth by the time they get to the first timing loop. So this has been a weekend of character building for point leader Brian Putt, and then of course Taylor Hagler on the pole, but had that big spin, avoiding the spinning Gonzales. She's got her work cut out for her today.
So Mason Filippi at dinner last night, he said we just didn't have the straightaway speed to fight for the win here yesterday. We saw him very vulnerable up through the S's.
Yeah.
He just said, I just don't have the speed of the other cars around me.
Watching the TCA category, a mini 1-2 at this stage. 1-2-3 at this stage, actually. Yeah. As they cross the stripe, it's Pombo over Orenburg and Mejia.
Right there where Filippi feels he's vulnerable. Let's take another look at the start. Watch the lock up here. See Hertz in there locking up a little bit. Gonzales gets pinched right at apex. I think Taylor just sees him and just loops it around there. The minis had already got the jump on her before they got to turn one.
Yep. So she's just got to now settle things down and try and go after it. And of course, part of the question is, if you have a spin like that, did you hurt the tires? And being a front drive car, you get a flat spot and you're asking those fronts to do an awful lot anyway. It could be an issue here, but Hertzen, points leader, boy, he doing what he needed to do in that opening lap.
Yeah, he's not afraid to be going for it. Got such a healthy, commanding lead right now. I think he can afford to even be aggressive. Now we see Mccann Jr. starting to come alive here.
Working the over-under on Vincent there, turning through the toe of the boot. He's got the inside. Question is, does Vincent float enough speed around the outside? Looks like he's going to do exactly that.
Yeah, it's a nice corner there. It allows you to get really racy with one another with plenty of room.
Boy, and Walker has run this lead group back down in a hurry.
Twitch there from Vincent. It looks like Hertzen's car's hooked up a little bit better at this stage of the race. I know it's early.
Mason Filippi had a great run at the opening 2 rounds at Circuit of the Americas and missed the next 2 events, but has come back with a vengeance and had some very strong performances.
It really has, just gaining confidence every year and even every week with the performances he's putting in. So Hertz, our championship leader, has a nice healthy lead, no pressure on him right now, and at the front in TCA it's all about the minis. But there you see Maxon down in the 4th position.
And he's now tied, correct, with Whitmer after the problem that Whitmer had in the race.
Whitmer came into the race yesterday with an 18-point lead, but with the DNF 0-point score and Maxon finishing on the podium, that's tied things up.
Look at Jose de Silva, the white Mazda right there, hanging on to a 5th place spot under attack from Luis Pericarpi.
See the team boss out there,
yeah.
getting a feel for things.
Getting back with some pavement underneath him. He's done a lot of road racing over the years, but as of late, he's been doing a lot more off-road racing, including class win at the Baja 1000, I think, in fairly recently. So he's readapting here, if you will.
Gio has got a bit of a run on him here.
Yeah, he does. And it looked like Maxon was taking a run at Mejia in the other one of the 3 minis, running 1, 2, 3 right now. And Gio snuck through on Jose de Silva. And as you said, now starting to put some pressure on, and Taylor Hagler is starting to make her move back up through the pack. Look at this now as Mccann has worked his way around and picked up 2nd from Vincent. So it's Hertz and Mccann, Vincent leading in TCR. Let's go back and take a look at that. Right here. He just worked that outside move. This time into the bus stop, Cal.
Yeah, he's just
nice.
Really strong here this weekend. The Audi's working well. Michael's doing a wonderful job behind the wheel. He's got a lot of confidence going right now. Now he's right on the tail of our leader, Hertz, and he closed that down very quickly.
So early in the action here, we've got racing and good racing unfolding in each category. In fact, Mccann closing on the leader. Mike Mccann attacking the overall and TCR race leader, Hertz. And once again, this is where he was really good, got around teammate Vincent. He pops to the outside again. I don't think he got there quite soon enough, Cal.
No, and then he has to really get on the brakes there. That allows Vincent to close up on him, so he loses his momentum here through the inner loop. So got to be careful where you position the car there. If the writing's on the wall, you're not going to clear it, tuck back in, otherwise you're vulnerable from behind.
And James Walker has slipped by on Mason Filippi, too, and has now picked up that 4th spot.
Alpha looks good.
Yeah, it does today.
He had pace yesterday. He was making some big moves early, and as you said, maybe a bit too gentlemanly in terms of letting people rough him up. Mccann looks to the inside. Hertz has got to be careful he doesn't leave the door open.
Yeah, Mccann really aggressive here. Fast lap of the race thus far, though, by a recovering Gonzales after that spin.
Just amazed that no one got into any part of his bodywork, at least.
Oh, Mccann tightening that turn in up into 9 really, it just costs you momentum. And as you can see, Vincent right back to his deck. And Mccann just seems to have speed.
Yeah, I think he's got the strength here this weekend. He's just got to figure out a way to play the waiting game here. Pick his moment. Can't afford to be making rash moves and then suddenly losing a position, having to battle his way back to the tail of Hertz.
Yeah, that's a good point. Keep in mind that Mccann, you know, that car had wins prior to this race, that very car, because that's the one that Rick Casey took to a win earlier in the year. So you know that car has some significant speed. It is a mini 1, 2, 3 in the TCA category, although Tyler Maxon right there in that multicolored Mazda looks to the inside of Tomas Mejia, not able to slide through. And that battle for the final podium spot in TCA is on. Up front, great battle as well for the overall between Hertz and Mccann, Vincent, Walker, and Filippi. In the background, I'll tell you, Pericarpi is he's looking to try and make this a mini 1, 2, 3, 4. He's found some pace here.
He really has. And looking at the big picture of the championship coming in here, Whitmer and Maxon are tied, but Maxon obviously for a good point score. Right now, Whitmer continues to run in that backup car, but he's outside of the point scoring positions.
Oh, and look at this now. Maxon got his nose to the inside. Let's see if he's going to be able to have the legs up the hill here on Mejia. He had him, then Mejia able to get by right now. The question is, can Maxon now use that draft and do something down into the inner loop? Mejia protecting big time to the inside. Maxon makes the move to the outside. I don't know if he's going to be far enough along to try and make it, and says nope, he's not. Tucks back in to that 4th spot. Let's get down to pit lane.
Well, Dean Copeland is paying close attention to the battle that you guys have been describing. Tyler is in the thick of things with those minis, fighting for the podium position there in TCA. It's been a good weekend for him from a points perspective, with some misfortune for his closest competitor. So how are you going to try and take advantage of that here in race 2?
Yeah, you know, we are tied for the points coming into the race today. Not the way we want to see Nick exit the race yesterday. Obviously, we like racing him hard. He's a great competitor. But at the end of the day, we'll take what we can get. And right now, Tyler's got his hands full with those Mini Coopers. I mean, they're just so fast on the straightaway, you know, it's hard to really do anything with them. And kind of really unfortunate for the Hyundai program with Mason Filippi right now. You know, we're like substantially down on the BOP right now. So I'm sure they're going to go to work on the rules package and, you know, swing it back our way a little bit. But right now, both guys are just driving the best they can, kind of trying to do some damage control and salvage the best points they can get.
Well, speaking with Mason in the TCR car, it's been a really solid partnership since it's begun. So this is really the first time that he hasn't been challenging at the front. I'm sure that's not something that sits well with him or with you.
Yeah, you know, it's when we were coming into the weekend, we kind of looked at things and knew we were, you know, going to have a fight on our hands, which is fine. But we definitely weren't expecting to be 10 mile an hour down to the next closest car on a straight line speed. So, I mean, Mason is driving it for all it's worth. I mean, his sector times through the corners are amazing. He's just getting past on the straightaway. So we'll do what we can, and, you know, we'll go to work before Road America.
Thanks, Dean.
Yeah, man, have a good one.
Yeah, and while we were in that interview, of course, we saw Mike Mccann Jr. has picked up the lead overall in the race. It looks really, really strong as we watch Maxon once again trying to do something. But there's Mccann, and he's gone to the lead, but he's opened it up as well. And he got to the inside.
Wasn't a lot of room.
No.
Michael just gave him a lane, no more. But Mccann wanted to take it, get to the front, and he's just galloped off. The others have to regroup here.
Yeah, he really has some speed here this weekend and is easing away here. And Walker now on the attack on Vincent down into turn 1. One thing we've seen about James Walker in these races is later in the race relative to everybody else, he generally just gets faster and faster.
Yeah, he's just learning his trade here. And one of these TCR cars has been so impressive this year. A couple of moments that have knocked him back a little bit this season, but nonetheless, is a great team. A lot of history in sports car racing, Risi Competizione. He's really enjoying this ride. Starting to put the pressure on as Mason hits pit lane.
Yeah, so there may have been more of a problem than what they were thinking of as they go into the back deck and start working back there. Talking about Walker, the first time he ever did any kind of a track day of any kind was right here in 1991. And he raced Ferrari Challenge at this venue as well in the past, so he likes this place, and he's won a lot of SCCA races in Saturns back in the day. Looking at what they might be working on here. Is that adjustments on that right rear corner possibly? Or it could be fuel pressure, as we're getting a report here.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Yeah.
Which I wonder if that's been, you know, I know they feel just BOP-wise they've been down, but I wonder if there has been a technical issue going on with that car as well.
Could be, absolutely. And Vincent attacking on Walker. Or Vincent attacking on Hertz, and Walker trying to figure out a way to take advantage of something and sneak through here.
Such a different dynamic when you're racing close between two teammates.
Yes.
We've seen it many times this weekend with the various classes running here, but you just have to give each other even more respect than you normally would.
Mccann, all of that helping Mccann in that Yeti Coolers. Mccann Racing Audi and those two Liqui-Moly FCP Euro entries. Walker in the Hella Baggett brake systems. Giulietta. A large part of that team is based in Florida, and he told us earlier in the weekend with Hurricane Dorian, a number of them left early to get home just in case. And so the factory that builds those cars, Romeo Ferris over in Italy, they've been burning the midnight to 6 a.m. oil over there, just making sure that they're giving them any information they can to help them get this car working through the weekend here as Maxon continues to try and attack for third in the TCM or the TCA class. Tell you, young Mr. Tomas Mejia is doing a great job defending a co-point leader in that category. And look at the drive here that Taylor Hagler has put on after spinning and dropping to the back of the field.
She's quicker than anyone in front of her, so it's a question now just managing that time on the clock. It's like yesterday, the fastest car on the race circuit.
She just passed Stephen Jew, and that puts her up into the top 5 cal in TCA.
Yep, she's definitely on the charge after that early spin. She can see Tyler Maxon right in front of her, the championship leader right now.
Great recovery drive. But yeah, as you said, carrying a lot more pace right now.
Right now she sits about 10 seconds back from the lead, so it's going to be a tough road to get to the leaders, but certainly a podium is still on the cards here.
That would be
Maxon, big move down to the inside. Oh, that was tight, almost contact. This will help Hagler. She gets a clean run through turn 1. I think Maxon can see that bright yellow Honda getting ever larger in his rearview mirrors.
A car that color is tough to miss, that's for sure. Again, Maxon. You know, it's funny to think that anybody can get a toe off a Mini, but that Mazda's got an even smaller profile than that Mini does.
Minis are actually quite tall.
Yeah, and he gets Maxon gets a pretty good toe off it, but Mejia doing a beautiful job. He's not allowing a very talented driver, Maxon, to be able to do anything.
He just doesn't want to give him a lane, and that's getting pretty tough for the championship leader. He's got to be super patient here. He's just got to think of the big picture, even though he's starting to feel pressure from behind.
Battle for third in TCA continues. Tyler Maxon looking down to the inside. Up front, however, we've got a fierce battle that continues to unfold in the overall TCR, but for second at this stage, as Mike Mccann Jr. has augured off into the distance here. Let's get down to the pit lane, Ryan.
Now let's talk about the weekend that Mike Mccann Jr. has had. He's been tremendous. He's really been the star of these TCR races here. He's a quick learner, it would seem, as we speak to Dan Fiffick, who oversees this operation for McCann Racing. What an impressive season of learning for him, and an impressive weekend here at Watkins Glen, most importantly.
Yeah, he's doing a great job. We started off not so well, but then we're ending pretty good. So the guys worked pretty hard on the car all night. We ripped the front end off of it on Thursday, I think it was, or Friday. Put it all back together, and here we are. So it's all going well.
And Michael's been busy this weekend as well, racing not just the TCR car, but also a GT4 car for the first time. Do you think the extra track time has benefited him?
Yeah, I'm not sure, because they're two different cars, but he's doing well, so I'll have to talk to him afterwards.
Sounds like a plan. Now, does he have the car to keep under him now for the rest of the race in order to hold this lead the rest of the way?
Yeah, I told him to watch the tires a little bit, so we'll see what happens.
Hey, thanks.
Sure. Thank you.
I think that was always the plan, is to do the double entry for the weekend, but they just want to find their feet early with the TCR cars. So I think the plan is coming together, and certainly showing results here this weekend. He continues to stretch the lead up front. The Silva's off, stuck in the gravel. Let's start and see if that's going to create a caution.
Well, that's unfortunate. He was having a nice run. And Maxon's finally through on Mejia, and it was an urgent case because Taylor had run them all down, and he knew, I need to get through.
Right. It was go time.
Meanwhile, we're having a heck of a battle that's going on in the TCR Cup class, too. As we talked about, Brian Putt had dropped to 4th at the start. Not long ago, he was back into the lead after Vita had led. Now, Putt's 3rd, Vita's 2nd, and Hill, who was so impressive in the class yesterday with the win in the Tooth Autosport Audi, has found himself back into the lead here.
It seems like an Audi track, doesn't it?
It sure does. They are hooked up. There's Mccann. He's working his way through that TCR podium spot battle.
Hagler now getting ever closer to Mejia for that, what is now 4th position on the road. Halfway point in this race. Minis continue to run 1-2. Orenburg has maintained the pace. He showed it early yesterday, then faded. He's sticking right there with Pombo. There's the Silva's car, so we just got a waving yellow in that corner, not going full course.
Well, that's a good thing. Well, I'll tell you, Taylor Hagler, who had closed up on the back of that battle with the TCR cars coming through, she's the one who got hurt the most. She's lost touch just a little bit now with Mejia. Now she might get some help as Walker diving down the inside of Mejia. There is your leader in the TCR Cup right there, that green and black Audi from Tooth. The Shopify entry of Travis Hill going for a 2nd straight win. He's been really strong.
He has about a 2.5 second lead right now with Vida. Hanging tough for another podium. Finished off the podium yesterday for the first time all season.
Yep, 4th place. It's unheard of for Ryan. I'm sure he's enjoying the competition, but I think that spot surprised him a little bit. He sits in the 3rd spot in that class right now. Filippi, after that stop, back out on track. There's Vida, and then red and black Audi, sitting 2nd in the TCR Cup class.
Filippi's got good pace now. Curious to see if he can start to lay down some times if they fix that fuel pressure issue, if that was indeed the fault they were trying to rectify, if that gives him a bit more performance as well.
Here's a good look at Travis Hill, the Shopify and Calabogie Motorsports Park, where he is the official chief driving instructor. Back to this tasty little battle between the teammates, Pombo and Orenburg, and Orenburg not letting Mr. Pombo get away, is he?
I think the key is maybe just managing these tires. And he is fast on the straightaways, but tends to abuse the tires a little bit, so I'm sure they're going to be wary of that. They got a nice healthy lead over the Mazda of Maxon that now has moved up to 3rd a couple of laps ago. Hagler has now rejoined that battle for 4th. She's got back on the tail of Mejia.
There she is in that yellow and black X-Factor Racing Civic. If you watch Hill go by, Vida with the lights flashing. And that's the EXR team by Prima. Morgan Preyes and Vida Motorsports entry. We'll see Taylor can find a way to sneak through on Tomas Mejia. Back in for Filippi, so this is apparently a chronic problem, Cal.
That's too bad. Looked at his last lap times and he ran the same pace as the leaders, so I thought they'd rectified it, but something's gone amiss again. They're closed up at the front,
I was just
big
going to
time.
say that, yeah.
Suddenly Hertz is right with Mccann Jr., so I'm not sure if that was a traffic lap that Mccann had gone through to lose all of the lead that he developed.
Yeah. He had 3 minutes now into the final half of this race, and the dynamics might just be changing a little bit here in this TCR TCA round at Watkins Glen. Now, just what Hertz's going to be able to do with this as he's closed up here, we'll see if it was traffic related, you would expect Mccann to be able to ease away again.
Well, it was a really slow lap, 2:01 flat compared to 58s, 59s for the other front runners, and he seems to have pace right now, so I'm sure it's just traffic he had to be careful with. In certain areas of this racetrack, you just have to wait and be patient. But certainly chopped his lead up big time.
Let's see what his time, yeah, back into the 58s.
Hertz just runs his fastest lap of the race, as does Vincent, as does Walker. 58 flat, not in the same zip code as Mccann, who's in the low 57s on his quickest laps, but even so, the Alfa Romeos we always seem to see get stronger and stronger as the race develops.
Yeah, and on that one, a 58 flat for Walker. And we're back in the TCA. at the line. Watching, yeah, Hagler is close to within a half second now of Mejia. Watching Walker here. Juliet is a pretty car.
It really is. Beautiful lines. It's even pretty when it's quick, too.
Helipagged brake systems on the car. He also has another sponsor on that car that he's got some of the administrative staff. The president and CEO is actually here as well for the event, so he's got himself some guests here in the paddock that are pretty stout. He's really enjoying putting on a show for them here.
He's having a great performance here this weekend. Hagler now really putting the pressure on for that 4th position on Mejia. Just needs to figure out the puzzle here in terms of where that Mini is strong. Certainly as Mejia gives the same treatment to her that he did to Maxon, he's not going to make it easy.
And the battle continues as Taylor Hagler working her way back up, sitting on pole, then a spin in the first corner, avoiding another car that was spinning, and now Taylor has fought her way back up into 5th, looking for 4th, and she's up on the outside. I don't think she's close enough, though.
Minnie's just got good power down the little straightaways, even though it's not like the back stretch. Even between the toe and the heel of the boot, he stretches on Taylor. Seems that that Honda's super handling. Really rolls big apex speed right there.
She might be pushing Mejia a little bit back toward Maxon here as well. Gonna have a good 3-car scrap for this final podium spot yet unfold.
Yeah, Pombo's gapped Orenburg by over a second and a half now, so they're not quite tied together like they were. Time starting to dwindle here, just over 13 minutes on the board. You're right, I think this is going to be a battle resumed for that 3rd spot. Great drive by Hagler to maintain composure after that quick spin. Get back into the meat of this action.
Just throwing down some really good laps from the get-go. When you look at her best lap, Cal, at 2:09.6. Everybody else around her, 2:10s, 2:11s.
Last lap of the race, last go-around.
Yep.
James Walker, a 1:57.3. Wow. Half a second quicker than Vincent, who did his fastest lap of the race. But what has it done? He's grouped this top 4 all back together.
After a great start to the season, and really after that incident at St. Pete, they had to get a new car and go through all the testing and development again for Reese and for James Walker. A podium here, I'm sure, would be incredibly meaningful. And again, having KBE Plus owner Mark McVeigh here as well would make it all the more special. See if he's able to pull that off. He's got 12 minutes to do it.
Ken Jr. still seems to have the strength, though.
Yeah.
I think the good news is, even if the Alpha's a little bit quicker, he's got a lot of ground to cover to get to our leader. Hertz and what a season. Championship lead, never off the podium. Bundle of wins to go along with it.
Yeah, and every time either his teammate Nate Vincent or Mason have been able to get in front of him, the next race he figures something out, and suddenly he's right back at it again. Oftentimes winning those second races of the weekends. Really doing a nice job this year. Whoa, Walker getting a run there.
Yeah, and that Alpha really rides that curb nicely. I mean, the VWs can use it, but that just really settles as it goes over that curb.
Down to the laces, heading to the toe. Well, this is as close as Walker's been here to Vincent for a while. Meanwhile, look at this. This is Maxon. Is that Orenburg?
Yeah, he's caught Orenburg and got by, and Hagler's got around Mejia. Big for the championship.
Absolutely.
Here. Again, even though Whitmer came into this race tied for the lead, he was in a backup car, started at the very back, has not made his way up into the top 10 today, so no points are being scored for him.
And interestingly for Orenburg, I don't know that Maxon ran him down so much as Orenburg's last lap, Kel. I just looked, was a 2:14. Everybody else running high 2:10s, low 2:11s. So he had something go wrong in that lap, and that's why Maxon was able to get to him and get through on him as well.
Well, maybe when Maxon got inside him or something,
Yeah.
maybe he had to run wide. But
Well,
either
that's
way, it
true.
was a slow lap and lost a
Yeah.
lot of time. We saw him yesterday fade a little bit.
Right at the end, yeah. Let's go back, take a look. Maxon, just a classic out-deeping move into one.
Just continues here for a little bit. You see Orenburg out wide, continues to fight as they head towards the S's. If he just gets in the gray here a little bit, don't see any major drama that would result in a 4-second loss in lap time.
Well, nonetheless, it's got Maxon now up into third, and that's just doing even better work in terms of, into second, which is doing even better work for him in terms of those points vis-a-vis Whitmer here.
Hagler's lost that position back to Mejia, so it's chop and change right there. They've now caught Orenburg.
I think Orenburg's got something has gone wrong.
He's got a flat spot. I almost hear like a flapping
Yeah,
from
that's
the
a
camera
good
there. I wonder if
point.
he's got a flat spot on a tire or something. Hagler's faded a little bit in this last lap. Where is she?
Oh yeah, big time. Well, and I wonder if that, problem for something.
Yeah, I wonder if
He's
he had
got
a tire
issue.
problem. That's
Yeah.
what's, you could hear a flapping, which may have been a flat spot, and then it's got through to the cords, possibly.
That left front, clearly.
Where did Hagler go?
Well, I was thinking maybe that it was her that we were hearing that flapping from, because she had that spin.
That's a good point.
So, but yeah, clearly an issue here for Orenburg.
It's all happening.
Yeah, wow. Nice job by Nate, looking for an opening, pulling into a safe area. It's well played indeed.
Well,
Unfortunate.
Fortunately, though, for the minis, they have a lot of quick ones out there. So
Yes,
Pombo
they do.
continues to lead, but Maxon on for a big points day, big gain. But this is actually
there's Taylor.
she just pulled off.
What a comeback drive she put on though through this field.
Yeah, I mean, she's got a lot of talent. It's really impressive, and she's just going to go from strength to strength here as the season continues. A couple of doubleheader weekends left.
Yep, and a couple of key players in the TCA category having late race drama here at WATKINS GLEN. And hoping to create a little late race drama here is James Walker, who still has not been able to figure out a way through on Vincent, even though he's consistently quicker. He runs Vincent down, sets quick laps, and then kind of gets parked.
He does. He's just got to try and use the advantages that he has with his race car and his pace right now to figure out a way through. And it's just allowed Mccann Jr. to settle back into a nice 2+ second lead.
There's Hertz in points leader. Doing what he needs to do, sitting in second at this stage. Of course, Mccann joining the TCR class late in the season here, so he's not a point threat by any means. You don't want to be giving up that 7-point swing if you can avoid it, but if you can't avoid it, at least finish in front of everybody else that's pursuing it.
Yeah, and I mean, you come out of this weekend, there's only 4 races to go, 2 doubleheader weekends. So for Hertz, he won't seal the deal here this weekend, but he's getting ever closer to that magic mark where he can't be caught.
And about 6 minutes left in this one. In the TCR Cup category, still Hill leading that over Vida and Putt. And Victor Gonzales, by the way, if you've been wondering, has worked his way up right now into the 6th overall position, trying to come back through the field after that spin.
Just a weekend that didn't quite come together for him in terms of results. He's shown a lot of pace here this weekend, Victor Gonzales, but just wrong place, wrong time yesterday. Got out fumbled a bit, and then the spin here early.
Here's a look at Victor Gonzales, who with the Medallion Febreuse Honda Civic Type R. Early spin has fought his way up through the pack and knocking on the door of moving himself up into a potential top 5 spot, although he has some room he needs to make up to get there. Meanwhile, this great battle continues for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th in the overall TCR category. Mike Mccann, Cal, has stretched that margin back out again, but Hertz and Vincent in the Liqui-Moly FCP Euro cars and Walker in the Hella Paget brake systems entry, a great scrap.
It really is. Walker has this roadblock in front of him in terms of being able to chase down the leader. He seems to have a little bit more pace. Meanwhile, in TCA continues to be Pombo, but now we can see in his rearview mirror, Tyler Maxon is not going away. How much will the championship leader want to stretch that points margin over Whitmer at the end of the day? Will he try and find anything he can in his counter tricks here to chase down the Mini? You'd have to think this Mazda is a little bit stronger over the longer run here.
Yes, I would think so too. Whitmer is now up into 8th, and that's a lot of distance from 2nd.
He's now in the points.
Yeah, and the problem was early. He had a couple of laps that were like 2:16s, and it cost him a little bit to get going. And now he's finding the rhythm with that car. And again, it's a completely different car, same type of car, but a different one than what he was running. And it probably took him a lap or two to really figure out the nuance. He didn't get much track time in it at this stage. But Pombo up front, again, you see that big STEP on the side of the car. It's the Service Technician Education Program, really innovative program from BMW and Mini Group to help people that want to become official dealer service techs. If they've completed, say, a community college course in vehicle servicing, they can apply for that program, and it gives them a little leg up in becoming a service tech. And 50% of the team at these races are from local dealers. That really is a cool program.
In fact, the 59 and the 60 car are actually serviced at the Mini's headquarters in New Jersey prior to coming here to the GLEN by the STEP program. There's a couple of their areas working together there. It's a pretty cool story.
It is.
Definitely
Absolutely.
check it out if you want to be in this industry.
It gives you a little head up, that's for sure. Boy, Walker has that pace. He keeps running these quick laps, runs these guys back down, gets stymied, drops back just a little bit. And not doing anything rash. Oh, Mccann, those tires so close to that grass, working through that TCA traffic here. Walker, this is close.
He's just got time to run here. I think he's got pace and rolling speed in that Alfa. He's just got to figure out the way through.
One thing I'm noticing is sometimes he gets a good run into a corner, and so kind of moves over, shows the nose a little bit, which slows him down on the exit. Maybe if he gave himself a little, whoa! Huge off by Hertzen.
Not sure what happened there.
Wow.
Just got super wide coming through turn 10, up and over the curb. That'll got his attention, that is for sure.
Well, I'm wondering, Cal, I saw him flashing his lights at Gronke, and I wonder if he just missed his turn-in just a little bit.
So he missed something big time.
Holy cow, that was unbelievable.
It's a nice save at the end of the day. Lucky there's that runoff room available to catch him.
Get interesting to, if he had the heart rate sensor, it just pegged.
Walker, big run here, pulling the double draft. I don't think he's going to have anywhere to go with it. Vincent's trying to figure out what's going on with his teammate, however. Are you in trouble, mate? What's going on? That's where Walker's really quick. He just needs to roll that speed through there as we see another car pulling off.
Is that Steven Zhu? Another of the X Factor. That's unfortunate.
Promotes Whitmer another position critically in that championship chase. So it's damage control for Whitmer here today. Now he's only 5 positions behind Maxon.
Up and through the toe.
Just gets super wide. I don't really understand there. It looked like he turned in okay and then just suddenly took off right before apex. Not sure if there's any oil down or something. He just got outside and in the marbles a little bit, but.
Some traffic. Walker gonna dive to the inside of Vincent. Nope.
It's too far back, can't quite get there.
Then he has to tighten that exit up, and you can see it just scrubs some speed for him. It's going to be the last lap, so this is it. Game on.
Yeah, there's no obvious pace. He doesn't have a big enough advantage just to make a move, it seems like. It's just a small percentage of grip that he's got over the VWs in front of him.
And there's Mccann picking up the white flag, final lap. Then Hertz and Vincent, the Liqui-Moly FCP Euro VWs. And Walker. Hill continues to lead in TCR Cup over Vida and Cole. And Putt has again slipped outside of the top 3. And then Pombo leading in TCA. Maxon, and that multicolored Mazda right there, sits second. There's Pombo. That's the margin first to second in TCA with Mejia third. PJ Gronke up into fourth and Pericarpi up into fifth.
Well, the good news for Pombo is that the overall leader has got around him, so this will be his final lap as well.
Yeah, good point.
So that'll take the pressure off. Oh, that was tight. He tried to close the door, tried to do it too late, though. Hertz was already committed.
Yep.
This is going to hurt Pombo a little bit. I'm not sure if it's going to be enough to get Maxon right on his tail before the finish, just half a lap to go.
Boy, Walker got a nice run as relative to everybody else as a result of that, but Vincent had that VW placed right where he needed it to be.
James just drives with a lot of respect. He's not
Yes.
going to be overly aggressive, take too many chances. If he sees the opportunity, I'm sure he'll go for it, but Vincent just hasn't opened up the door for him.
Well, and James obviously wants good finishes, but he also knows that he's not a player in the points right now, and I think he's just that kind of guy that I don't want to mess up anybody's points aspirations here, doing something overly aggressive. But this is it. Here's your top 4 overall into the final couple of corners here at Watkins Glen. Here's Mccann. The Mccann Racing Yeti Coolers Audi onto the front straight. And Audi is going to get the TCR win here at Watkins Glen. And a great scrap for second. Hertz and Vincent and Walker, VW, VW, and Alpha complete the top 4. And there's Pombo coming through and picking up a win on the weekend for Mini. The JCW Mini team. Yeah, great run for him. Maxon coming through in second. And Mejia makes it 2 minis on the podium. PJ Gronke up into fourth. He will be delighted with that finish. And then Louis Pericarpi coming home top 5 when the owner hops in the car. There's your winner in TCR Cup. That is the number 41 of Travis Hill. Just did a superb job in that Shopify Calabogie Motorsports Park Tooth Autosport Audi Sport RS3, LMS. So just a great run. And for Mike Mccann, what a weekend, in his second ever weekend in the top TCR class. You know, other than lapping days, Cal, when he'd hop in, you know, one of the Fast Family cars when his dad was testing, and he'd go out and lap, and they went, you know, you're getting pretty quick in these. We probably need to put you in something that's got a cage in it. So then they got him a track car, and he did that. But it never raced a car until this season started. To be sweeping a TCR weekend in front of guys like Hertz and Vincent, this is remarkable.
It's a great story. And you'd have to think it's going to just build his confidence where he can now move forward to these last 4 rounds of the championship and maybe repeat that success. And also going in the, I know we got a ways to go before the season is finished, but going into the off season for next year, he's got to go into it as one of the championship favorites.
Boy, you would sure think so. Absolutely. And there's Mr. Pombo, of course. Everybody knows his credentials. There's PJ, who certainly has all the credentials and speed to run up at the front. He's had just kind of a rough year on some levels. Nice to see him put together a strong run. And to finish here in that number 44 Tundra Tech Solutions, TalentNet, Cabanos Comfort Food, Roro Zui, Eventscape, Pelto Agri Investments. You see the trend here. If we were to go through all of PJ's sponsors, it would take the entire race length. And he's got a great group of people that donate as much as they can to help this nice young man run. And looking through it here, he had a 4th in the first race at Coda and hasn't been able to match that until today due to some of those issues. So for PJ, what a great run by a former TCB champion.
Some good stories today.
Absolutely there were.
Some disappointments certainly throughout the field, but also some great stories, some great success. Lots to build on as we move forward to Road America for the next rounds of the championship.
I hope Mike remembers there. He's got to duck down into victory circle. There he comes. A sweep of the weekend for Mccann Racing and the Yeti Coolers Audi. Michael Mccann Jr. brings that car down into the victory circle staging area. Just an exceptional weekend that they have been able to put together. And you can see everybody mighty pleased down there as well. And for the second straight day, Travis Hill sweeps on the weekend, and that's kind of been a trend here, hasn't it? With the sweep, as we're talking about here, because you think about who won the first race in TCA yesterday, Mr. Pombo. He's loving that. So I don't know that I recall that happening. All 3 classes having every driver sweep on the weekend. That might be one of the key stories out of this as well. This one should be fun. Here's the helmet off for Mike Mccann Jr., and Ryan is right there.
A sweep of the weekend in TCR for Michael Mccann Jr., and this is no mean feat. That's a good field of drivers you had to beat 2 days in a row. Yeah. Congratulations.
Thanks, Ryan. It was a really good weekend. The Audi had a lot of pace. In the turns, it was a little tricky. You know, the other cars had me in some of the turns, but once we got kind of in a straight line, I had it a little bit. But, man, great race. Tough start, but we came out.
And you're a busy guy between the GT4 stuff this weekend plus the TCR. Did that help you being on track a little bit extra?
Well, I bet being on track definitely probably helped, but just having the pace felt really good. Kind of getting from GT4 to this, can't complain. I'm happy, very happy.
Well, congratulations. Well done.
Thank you very much. You guys take care.
He brings up a good point. He's had a lot of track time this week in vastly different cars, of course, but he gets the sweep nonetheless. As we take a look at those results, and you can see, again, Travis Hill, the Canadian, sweeping the weekend over Vita and Cole for Brian Putt off the podium twice. That's just unheard of here. And then Pombo getting the sweep, but Maxon, in terms of the points, that could be a huge story with the run that he put together with the problems that Whitmer had, Cal. Let's not forget Sally McNulty. That may have been her best finish of the season with that top 5 in the number 780 entry. So a very solid run for her as well. Let's get right back down to Ryan.
Oh, the mini team. These minis really seem to be coming into their own as the season has gone along. How have you been able to find that improvement and keep in front of a tough class of competitors here in TCA?
Yeah, well, early on in the season we were having some issues. We were having trouble with there's too much power in these minis. We were blowing some of the left fronts on our tires, and we've gotten a little bit of a better hold on that. Had a big points weekend this week, and we were all but out of it until this weekend. I think we're back in the hunt. So got to say thanks to the Service Technician Education Program and Mini USA for putting me in this car, bringing all these guys out to help make sure we had a motor swap in the third place car this weekend. Without them, it wouldn't have been possible. So just got to say thank you to all of them. Lap Motorsports, Mini USA, wouldn't be here without them.
Congratulations on a great weekend.
Thanks.
Absolutely, a fabulous weekend. We're taking a look at some highlights. I want to quickly say Sally McNulty, that was her best finish of the season, beating her 6th at Portland. But at the off, Mccann got to the lead, but I'll tell you, Nate Vincent gave him a serious run around the outside, picked up the lead, and then Gonzales looped it, Cal, and took Taylor Hagler a big evasive move to not hit him.
Just amazing that everyone avoided those 2 cars spinning there, but up front it was the 2 FCP Euro machines, and then Mccann started to make some moves. They Audi had a lot of pace here this weekend.
Swept around, picked up the 1 spot, and then this beautiful move down to the inside and almost had those rights in the grass to make it work, but did exactly that, and that gave him a lead he would not relinquish for the rest of the race. Had to survive a caution to do it, and then this great battle as well as Tyler Maxon all over Tomas Mejia, in this battle for the final TCA podium spot with Taylor Hagler recovering from that spin. Then Orenburg, a little bit of a moment when a tire let loose.
Yeah, same lap we saw Hagler go off as well.
And then this big moment, still kind of confused as to what happened there for the 71 of Hertz, and amazingly didn't lose the position. But Mccann comes through with a sweep on the weekend, as did Travis Hill in Cup and Pombo in TCA.